Have you ever noticed that the most influential people at work aren't always the loudest person in the room? They're the people others trust, listen to, and follow. The good news is that influence at work isn't just about your title, it's about how you communicate. In this video, we're breaking down 5 communication skills that can help you earn more respect, strengthen your leadership presence, and increase your influence at work, whether you're leading a team or positioning yourself for your next big opportunity. By the end of this video, you'll learn how influential professionals communicate differently, how to speak so people actually listen, and what communication mistakes quietly damage credibility, and some simple shifts that can immediately elevate your executive presence at work. If you don't know me, I'm Portia of Fly High Coaching, where we've helped thousands of executives and professionals soar to their full potential in their careers. First, you want to know and remember that influential people communicate with clarity and confidence. People trust leaders who communicate clearly. If your message feels scattered, overly complicated, or uncertain, your influence level drops, even if you have strong ideas. One way to help with this is to lead with the bottom line. So you don't want to bury the point. You want to start with your recommendation or the outcome you'd like first. So instead of saying something like, I've been thinking about several possibilities, you might say, my recommendation is X because it solves Y. Have you ever sat through a meeting wondering, what is the point of what this person is saying? You don't want to be that person. You also want to eliminate filler language. So you do not want to overuse certain phrases like I think, I feel, just, sorry to bother you, maybe this is a bad idea. These sorts of statements unintentionally weaken your authority. You want to instead provide executive level insight. And so confidence is communicated through language patterns that don't include those things that I mentioned. If you want more support around your career strategy, sign up for the Career 911 Masterclass linked below. Then you want to simplify complex ideas. Senior leaders value concise communication, so you want to avoid over-explaining things, and you just want to use a clear, concise, and compelling framework when you talk. You also want to speak in outcomes, so you want to tie communication to your business impact. So business impact could be things like revenue, efficiency, team performance, customer experience, strategic goals, those sorts of things. You also want to pause, the power of the pause, and you want to pause with intention. Powerful communicators don't rush. Pauses, they project confidence and credibility. Second thing that you want to do is you want to learn to communicate so people feel heard. Influence isn't just about speaking well. It's about making people feel understood. So you want to practice strategic listening. That means you stop listening just to respond to what someone else is saying, but you're truly listening to them. You're listening to understand what's not being said, motivations and concerns. So when you do talk, you might want to ask, what's driving that concern? What outcome are you hoping for? Those are some deep questions. You also want to validate the other person before persuading. So people resist when they feel dismissed or that they're unheard. So you might say something like, I understand why that concern matters. And then you present your perspective. You also want to ask better questions. So influential leaders ask thoughtful questions like, what challenge are we trying to solve? What might we be overlooking? What would success look like? Those are thoughtful questions. You also want to adapt to different communication styles. And I am a master practitioner of the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator Assessment, which is a personality assessment. And different personality types can lean on different communication styles. So understanding that, or at least being able to pick up on cues, can help you when communicating with different people. You might want to communicate with executives in concise strategic updates. If you're communicating with your team members, you might need to provide them with more context. If you're communicating with stakeholders, they often care about the overall impact of things. So influential communicators can flex their style depending on their audience and the personality of the person that they're talking to. You also want to read the room. You want to watch body language that is common. You want to recognize disengagement or resistance. You want to know when you need to adjust your approach. This one skill alone can completely change how people respond to you in meetings. And then finally, you want to communicate like a leader, especially in high stakes moments. So influence grows when people trust how you communicate under pressure. You're not going to crumble. You're not going to embarrass them or the company. You're going to make sure that things stay on the rails. To do that, you want to stay calm in difficult conversations. So influence can often decrease when emotions escalate. Leaders stay composed. There are a few ways that you can do this. You can pause thoughtfully in conversations. You can lead with curiosity, ask questions. You can definitely practice having emotional control, especially in very tense situations. And this allows you to disagree without damaging a relationship. So a framework for this would be to acknowledge the other person, add your perspective, and then align with that person on the outcome that you're looking for. Okay, so an example of this might be, I understand why we're considering this approach. One thing I'd add is the potential impact of this on our timeline. How can we accomplish this goal while minimizing delays? So you added your perspective and you're asking for suggestions, recommendations, collaboration on the final result. You also want to speak up in meetings strategically. Now, this is tough. You don't want to be over talking and just interjecting to be seen and heard. That's not what I'm talking about. But you also don't want to not say anything and wait to be developing an idea for weeks and weeks until it's perfect before you say something. You can add value early in a thoughtful way. And this helps to build visibility through contribution in the meetings. You can also tell better stories. So facts inform, but stories persuade. So using a combination of facts and stories can really help you. So some examples are maybe some client stories you can include, leadership experiences, workplace scenarios. Incorporating all of those with facts can help your stories and what you say be more meaningful and memorable to the people that you work with. And then you want to follow through on your communication. So reliability builds influence. So if you say that you're going to send something, send it. Consistency strengthens your credibility. I just want to underline that. And that is something that all of the work and all of the strategy is not going to help you if you're not consistent. As a bonus, to share another communication habit that can quietly hurt your influence is over-explaining. Often this is driven by nervousness or wanting approval from other people, but this can dilute your authority. So you really want to practice brevity. I sometimes call this having a lot of proving energy. Sometimes people just want to prove that they're right. They want to prove that they belong in the room, and then they're just over-explaining and rambling. Confident professionals explain enough, and then insecure professionals explain everything. So you don't want to come across as insecure. If you want to become more influential at work, focus on these communication habits. Communicate clearly and confidently, make people feel heard, and learn to communicate like a leader during high-stakes moments. Remember, your influence isn't determined only by your job title. It's shaped by how consistently and effectively you communicate. Which of these communication skills do you want to improve the most? Drop it in the comments below. And if you're serious about growing your leadership presence and advancing your career, be sure to subscribe here for more career and leadership advice.